J 9 and 3. 8. Not only did they do things that were out of the ordinary, but also their expression and manner doubtless reflected intensity and feeling that were truly extraordinary. This may explain in part what is meant by individuals behaving like prophets. 1 So 10. 6-11. 19. 20-24. J 29. 24-32. Compare 2. 4, 12-17. 6. 15. 7. 55. Their total concentration and zealous boldness in their mission might cause their behavior to appear strange, even irrational, to others, just as a prophet so appeared to military chiefs when Jehu was anointed. Yet, on realizing that the man was a prophet, the chiefs accepted his message with full seriousness. 2 Kai 9. 1-13. Compare 26. 24, 25. When Saul, in pursuit of David, was caused to behave like a prophet, he stripped off his garments and lay naked all that day and all that night, during which time David evidently escaped. 1 19. 18. 20. When this does not mean that prophets frequently went naked, for the biblical record shows the contrary. In the two other cases recorded, the prophet went naked for a purpose, to represent some facet of his prophecy. Issa 20. 2-4. Mik 1. 8-11. The reason for Saul's nakedness. Whether to show him as a mere man, divested of his royal garments, impotent against Jehovah's own regal authority and power, or for some other purpose, is not stated. Jehovah used various methods to inspire the prophets. Verbal communication through angels X 3. 2-4. Compare Lu 1. 11-17. Held 1. 1, 2. 2. 1, 2. Visions that impressed God's message on the conscious mind Issa 1. 1. Had 1. 1. Dreams or night visions given while the prophet slept 7. 1. And messages conveyed while the person was in a trance 10. 10, 11. 22. 17-21. On occasion, music might contribute to the prophets receiving the divine communication. 1 So 10. 5. 2 Kai 3. 15. Similarly, the proclamation of the inspired message was effected in diverse manners. Held 1. 1. Generally the prophet spoke it, both in public places and in sparsely populated regions. J 7. 1, 2. 36. 4-13. Mount 3. 3. But he might dramatize the message by use of symbols or symbolic acts, as in Ezekiel's portraying the siege of Jerusalem by use of a brick, or in Hosea's marriage to Gomer. As 4. 1-3. Ho 1. 2, 3. Compare 1 Kai 11. 30-39. 2 Kai 13. 14-19. J 19. 1, 10, 11. See dream. Inspiration. Vision. Distinguishing the truth from the false. In some cases, such as that of Moses, Elijah, Elisha, and Jesus, God's prophets performed miraculous works that attested to the genuineness of their message and office. Not all, however, are recorded as performing such powerful works. The three essentials for establishing the credentials of a true prophet, as given through Moses, were: the true prophet would speak in Jehovah's name. The things foretold would come to pass 18. 20-22. And his prophesying must promote true worship, being in harmony with God's revealed word and commandments 13. 1-4. The last requirement was probably the most vital and decisive, for an individual might hypocritically use God's name, and by coincidence, his prediction might see fulfillment. But the true prophet was not solely or even primarily a prognosticator, as has been shown. Rather, he was an advocate of righteousness, and his message dealt primarily with moral standards and their application. He expressed God's mind on matters. Issa 1. 10-20. Mik 6. 1-12. Hence, it was not necessary to wait perhaps for years or generations to determine whether the prophet was true or false by fulfillment of a prediction. If his message contradicted God's revealed will and standards, he was false. Thus, a prophet who foretold peace for Israel or Judah, at a time when the people were engaging in disobedience o textuale acute miritra longo, Prophet 697 as to those measuring up to the divine standards, the fulfillment of certain short-range prophecies, some being accomplished in just a day or a year, gave basis for confidence that their prophecies relating to a more distant future would also see fulfillment. 1 Kai 13. 1-5. 14. 12, 17. 2 Kai 4. 16, 17. 7. 1, 2, 16-20. Sons of the Prophets. As Gesenius Hebrew Grammar explains Oxford, 1952, p. 418, the Hebrew ben son of Obner sons of may denote membership of a guild or society or of a tribe, or any definite class. Compare any 3. 8, where a member of the ointment mixers is literally a son of the ointment mixers. The sons of the prophets may thus describe a school of instruction for those called to this vocation, or simply a cooperative association of prophets. Such prophetic groups are mentioned as being at Bethel, Jericho, and Gilgal. 2 Kai 2. 3, 5. 4. 38. Compare 1 Sa 10. 5, 10. Samuel presided over a group at Ramah 1 Sa 19. 19, 20, and Elisha seems to have held a similar position in his day. 2 Kai 4. 38. 6. 1-3. Compare 1 Kai 18. 13. The record mentions their building their own dwelling place and the use of a borrowed tool, which may indicate that they lived simply. Though often sharing quarters and food in common, they might receive individual assignments to go out on prophetic missions. 1 Kai 20. 35-42. 2 Kai 4. 1, 2, 39. 6. 1-7. 9. 1, 2. Prophets in the Christian Greek scriptures. The Greek word pro-middle.ptes corresponds to the Hebrew na-middle.6. The priest Zechariah, father of John the Baptizer, acted as prophet in revealing God's purpose concerning his son, John, who would be called a prophet of the Most High. 1. 76 John's simple mode of life and his message were reminiscent of earlier Hebrew prophets. He was widely recognized as a prophet. Even Herod felt some restraint because of him. Mr. 1. 4-6. Mount 21. 26. Mr. 6. 20 Jesus said John was far more than a prophet. Mount 11. 7-10. Compare Luke 1. 16, 17. Joe 3. 27-30. Jesus, the Messiah, was the prophet, the long-awaited one foretold by Moses. Joe 1. 19-21, 25-27. 6. 14. 7. 40. 18. 18, 19. Act 3. 19-26 His ability to perform powerful works and to discern matters in a way beyond the ordinary caused others to recognize him as a prophet. Luke 7. 14-16. Joe 4. 16-19. Compare 2 Kai 6. 12. More than all others he was one in God's intimate group. Joe 23. 18. Joe 1. 18. 5. 36. 8. 42 He regularly quoted earlier prophets as testifying to his divine commission and office. Mount 12. 39, 40. 21. 42. Luke 4. 18-21. 7. 27. 24. 25-27, 44. Joe 15. 25 He foretold the manner of his own betrayal and death, that as a prophet he would die at Jerusalem, the killer of the prophets, that his disciples would abandon him, that Peter would deny him 3 times, that he would be resurrected on the 3rd day. Many of these prophecies being based on earlier prophecies in the Hebrew Scriptures. Luke 13, 33, 34. Mount 20, 17-19, 26, 20-25, 31-34. Beyond this, he foretold the destruction of Jerusalem and its temple. Luke 19, 41-44, 21. 5-24. The precise fulfillment of all of these things within the life of those hearing him gave solid basis for faith and conviction as to the fulfillment of his prophecies relating to his presence. Compare Mount 24. Mr. 13. Luke 21. Pentecost, 33 CE saw the foretold outpouring of God's Spirit on the disciples at Jerusalem, causing them to prophesy and see visions. They did this by declaring the magnificent things of God, and by inspired revelation of knowledge about God's Son and what this meant for their listeners. Act 2. 11-40. Again, it should be remembered that prophesying does not mean solely or necessarily predicting the future. The Apostle Paul stated that he that prophesies upbuilds and encourages and consoles men by his speech, and he held prophesying forth as a proper and particularly desirable goal for all Christians to strive after. Whereas speaking foreign tongues was assigned for unbelievers, prophesying o textoi acute miritra longo, prophetess 698 headship of the male members of the congregation. Act 21. 9. 1 Co 11. 3-5. Prophetess. A woman who prophesies or carries on the work of a prophet. As shown under the headings prophet and prophecy, prophesying basically means the inspired telling forth of messages from God, the revealing of the divine will. Prediction of future events might or might not be